It was exactly a year ago today, Americans went to the polls, and more of them chose Hillary Clinton. A smaller number chose Donald Trump, a popular vote loss that appears to continue to sting him, even though he won the more important contest among the states for the Electoral College. Now, if Trump had lost, which many expected, would Russia have ever gotten anything for all their meddling? Well, investigators now think the answer is still yes. Even with a loss, Russia did get a gift during the campaign when Trump aides changed the GOP platform to help Russia. Investigators are probing that change, and they're interviewing a Trump aide who admitted the campaign made it. Others say they are bracing to hear from Mueller's team. The platform is usually a rallying point because the nominee controls it. When the RNC approved it, in fact, many touted a Reagan-esque document.
We have created a winning conservative platform. I have seen how the process works. I have compared it to our Democrat colleagues. Ours was open. It was a bottom-up process with participation of 112 committed delegates.
It harkens back to the world of 1980, when an equally discredited presidency was called to account. Our response then was a Republican platform which told the truth. We do the same today with the same unity and the same courage shown by those who some 36 years ago made the Reagan platform a manifesto of liberty and opportunity for everyone.
Reagan not known for going soft on Russia, and delegates involved told us the Russia language came from the top of the Trump campaign. As for that, quote, open process, there are reports that records for the meeting are disappearing. One thing we do know is that was not technically confirmed at the time. Paul Manafort was previously hiding his work as an agent of the very foreign power impacted by the platform change. He was pressed about it at the time.
There's been some controversy about something in the Republican Party platform that essentially changed the Republican Party's views when it comes to Ukraine. How much influence did you have on changing that language, sir?
I had none.
Everybody on the platform committee has said it came from the Trump campaign. If not you, who?
No, it absolutely did not come from the Trump campaign.
So nobody from the Trump campaign wanted that change in the platform?
No one. Zero.
The problem with that, I don't know, call it TV testimony, is that it's contradicted by real testimony from several other people now, and they, unlike Paul Manafort, have not been indicted. I'm joined now by Alexander Vershbow. He served as U.S. ambassador to Russia in the Bush administration. He's at the Atlantic Council now, and back with us, Katty Kay. Mr. Ambassador, a lot of geopolitics here. Was this something that was helpful to Putin, and how unusual was it in your view?
It was definitely helpful to Putin. It was a very positive signal from the Russian point of view, because it changed what was a traditional Republican policy since the invasion of Ukraine of supporting arming the Ukrainians. Obama had been very sharply criticized by the whole Republican leadership and many Democrats as well for not helping the Ukrainians defend themselves if we weren't going to actually intervene on their behalf. So this was a gift to Putin in the sense that he could hope that if Trump were elected, the U.S. would back away from its support for Ukraine. And there were even concerns that he would lift the sanctions unilaterally to boot.
Katty, how do you view this coming up in these investigations?
You know, it's going to be an interesting issue for the investigators, because this is the one thing that we know that Russia has got, willingly or not, out of the election of Donald Trump. Look at the language that was changed in the platform. It was changed from giving Kiev lethal defensive assistance to giving Kiev appropriate assistance. That was the big shift that we looked at in the Republican, after the Republican convention. And it basically said, we're not going to help them with the weaponry they want, which is sort of anti-tank missiles, radar equipment, that kind of thing. What was so fascinating about this at the time is that it was not just a departure from the Obama administration, it was a departure from almost every leading foreign policy, national security expert on the Republican side who had come to the conclusion that what they wanted was more lethal assistance for the Ukrainians. At the moment, this is parked, as the ambassador says, on Donald Trump's desk, but it's not clear that Donald Trump wants to go there, that he wants to give the lethal assistance that the Ukrainians say they need.
Yeah, I don't know how, based on his public commentary, I don't know how much time Donald Trump is spending meticulously analyzing the weapons strategy for Ukraine as a satellite state, a chess piece in Putin's strategy. Mr. Ambassador, I want to read to you from the campaign emails because you've been around these foreign policy circles. You know some of these players. There was now documented evidence that's become public that they were directly working on this in contradiction to what Paul Manafort claimed here. As for the Ukrainian amendment, Carter Page famously emailed, excellent work. Do you have a view, based on what we know, about whether this was strictly a unusual policy idea within the campaign, or given the exposure on the foreign agents and the investigations proceeding, that this may have been an effort by people through Manafort and others to essentially hijack U.S. policy?
Yeah. Well, I'm eagerly awaiting the results of the investigation, because it's obviously something to really speculate widely about. But whether this was just part of the, let's get along with Russia kind of attitude that we heard from Trump on many occasions, or whether there was actually direct conspiring by some people in the campaign, maybe in communication with Russia, that we simply don't know. So I think we have to wait and see. Mm-hmm. But it is kind of ironic that Trump in office has actually come up with a reasonably decent policy towards Ukraine. He's appointed a special envoy. He's trying to negotiate a solution that gets the Russians out of eastern Ukraine. He's linked the sanctions to a solution in Ukraine. So the only missing piece is he going to agree to provide lethal defensive weapons? That's on his desk now. I hope he does it, because Putin needs to understand that the costs are going to increase the longer he drags out this occupation of Ukraine. So Trump has an opportunity to kind of fix this, even if it was a real outrage during the convention.
And we're limited time here, but just to be clear, you're saying you hope that Trump stands up to Putin on that Ukraine issue and overrides what they did in the platform?
Absolutely. And I think his whole government is recommending that, the Pentagon, the State Department, so let's hope he does it.
And his envoy as well has also said that the time to look at has come, at least to look at giving them those weapons.
Right, and this is why there's skin in the game, and we'll see what holds. The platform negotiated by some of those people, or this change, as you both very articulately explained it to us. Ambassador Vershbow and Katty Kay, thank you both.
You're welcome.
Still ahead, the man who knows what makes Trump tick. I have the co-author of The Art of the Deal here for an exclusive interview to talk about Trump's reaction to these election losses, to the Mueller probe, and why he says Trump is a danger to, quote, civilization. And first, as promised, here's what Barack Obama was doing a year after Election Day, doing his civic duty, jury duty. Now, he did not get picked, but he did make some people's day.
Stay seated. Stay seated, ma'am. That's okay. Okay, Mr. President. Good to see you. Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for serving on the jury, or at least being willing to. Good to see you. How y'all doing? All right. See, this looks like Chicago right here.
More people shop online for the holidays than ever before. And the United States Postal Service delivers more of those purchases to homes than anyone else in the country. Because we know, even the smallest things are sometimes the biggest.
What are they doing?
They're using automation to cut errors, build apps faster.
But why aren't they yelling?
Yeah, where's all the chaos?
Yeah, the frustration.
The anguish.
It's a modern software factory. We don't really do anguish.
Growing up, we were German. We danced in a German dance group. I wore lederhosen. When I first got on Ancestry, I was really surprised that I wasn't finding all of these Germans in my tree. I decided to have my DNA tested through Ancestry DNA. The big surprise was we're not German at all. 52% of my DNA comes from Scotland and Ireland. So I traded in my lederhosen for a kilt.
Ancestry has many paths to discovering your story. Get started for free at Ancestry.com.
Thanks for the ride along, Captain. I've never been in one of these before, even though Geico is... Oh, here we go. Here we go.
You got cut off there. What were you saying?
Oh, no.
Maybe that Geico's been proudly serving the military for over 75 years? Is that what you wanted to say?
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, you seem a lot chattier on TV.
Geico, proudly serving the military for over 75